It may have been over 5 years since the US version of The Office came to a close, or 7 years if you'd rather ignore the final 2 seasons, and yet the show remains massively popular. Everyone watching this video has probably seen the entire thing at least twice before, and just hearing the opening theme will probably have you jonesing for yet another fix. There are enough great episodes to ensure that it doesn't grow stale, and spending time with these characters is simply a joy. It's just a lovely comfort blanket. Rewatching the show does offer other advantages too though. It's not just great to see Jim and Pam fall in love all over again, laugh at Michael's behaviour, cry at his exit, and enjoy the multitude of pranks, but the show is packed full of small yet brilliant details that you're likely to miss the first time round. Or the second, third, and fourth for that matter. Because of that, there's always a reason to come again. And yep, that's what she said. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 12 small details you only notice rewatching The Office. Number 12. The water is dyed green on St. Patrick's Day, and Michael has the wrong flag. The Office's 6th season saw a big celebration of St. Patrick's Day, which, we're told, is one of the most popular holidays in Scranton. Hey, if it's popular in Newcastle of all places, I can buy it. Consequently, the characters are all wearing green, and that gave the production team a chance to sneak in a couple of great visual gags. For one, behind Stanley we can see that the water in the Office's cooler has been dyed green as a means of marking the occasion, showing just how all out the Office has really gone. Even better though are Michael's hilarious attempts to get involved. Not only does he wear a green tie, but he also has an Irish flag on his desk. Or at least what he thinks is an Irish flag, because in true Michael Scott fashion it turns out to actually be the Italian flag. In fairness, they are kinda similar, sort of. Number 11. The plasma TV and the garage sale. Dinner party is among the greatest Office episodes ever made, with Pam, Jim, Andy, and Angela all going to Michael's and Jan's for dinner. While there, they're given a tour of the condo, including the few personal touches Michael has been able to apply. His prized possession is his tiny plasma TV, which he bought for a cheap $200 and which Jan later breaks in the episode. Later in the series though, after Jan and Michael have broken up, it's shown that Michael kept the broken TV on the wall and simply placed a bigger, working TV underneath it. Eventually though, he does come to get rid of it in Season 7's garage sale. Not that he throws it out of course, but that he actually attempts to sell the broken plasma TV. At the same garage sale, we can also see the clown painting that Jim and Pam couldn't get off the wall of their house. They clearly finally managed it here and put that up for sale too. Number 10. Bob Vance's fridge cake. Bob Vance, Vance Refrigerators, is one of the many great recurring characters of The Office. The partner of Phyllis, he pops up every so often, always introducing himself with the name of his company tacked on afterwards. The running gag pays off massively in the episode where he and Phyllis get married, as they have not one but 2 wedding cakes. While one of them is your regular wedding cake, there's also a groom's cake, which is typically less traditional than, the regular wedding cake. That's certainly the case here as well, because the groom's cake for Bob is actually a refrigerator. It's a cute little sight gag, but it's even better as part of a 1-2 punch. Because even easier to spot is that the topper of the wedding cake itself, next to the bride and groom, is yet another fridge. There's also the long-running theory that he introduces himself with Vance Refrigerations for one very smart reason. He knows they're being filmed, so is using it as free advertising should the documentary ever be shown. He's a goddamn genius. Number 9. Trash tiramisu. In the Surplus episode, Jim and Pam are having an argument after he takes Oscar's side in an office debate. After going out to lunch with Michael and Oscar, Jim returns with a piece of tiramisu as a peace offering, which Pam promptly rejects and chucks in the bin. Later though, we see Michael in his office on the phone to David Wallace, eating and choking on his own piece of tiramisu. A piece that is looking a little messy for sure, but come on, it can be a messy dessert. But he then goes on to give a big speech about how the Office is wasteful, referencing that people throw out perfectly good tiramisu just because it has a tiny little hair on it. It's only on a rewatch that you put the dots together and realize that Michael, who wasn't holding any tiramisu when he came back to the office with Jim, took it out of the trash and ate it. Number 8. Jim gets reimbursed for dressing as Dwight. Jim playing pranks on Dwight is one of the Office's most reliable wells to return to gags for, and one of the many greats came in Season 3, Episode 20, Product Recall, where Jim decides to dress as his rival and spend the day imitating him. To camera, Jim reveals how much the prank cost to put together, $4 for the glasses and then $7 for the rest of the ensemble. Later on in the episode though, Angela mocks Kevin for not knowing that 7 + 4 = 11 when he's working on a payroll form, meaning that Jim was reimbursed by Dunder Mifflin for that prank. Which makes sense because after all, identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Number 7. Great Scott salad dressing. Michael Scott is a man of particular taste, so of course, a sneaky little prop on his desk when he's eating a salad reveals that he has his own salad dressing, which he's named Great Scott and even given a label including his face, which is designed to mimic Newman's own salad dressing range. It's a superb visual gag in its own right, but it's made even better by a deleted scene in which Michael expands upon the dressing by saying, "I make my own salad dressing. I mix Newman's Ranch with Newman's Italian. Sell it at flea markets for a slight loss. I could make a profit if I changed one of the ingredients to Wishbone, but I won't do it." Number 6. So many Creed details. Creed Bratton is one of the weirdest Office characters, which is saying something, and there are a number of brilliant details and jokes built around the character. For example, in Season 9, and one of the last uses of the joke on the show, Clark says, "There's no way you guys are making this magic with just your mouths," to which Creed mouths the iconic, "That's what she said." Another great Creedism is when the Office runs out of printer ink in Dunder Mifflin Infinity, as it's the same episode where Creed is attempting to pass himself off as much younger with dyed black hair. The camera cuts to him as Michael announces they're out of ink, suggesting that he dyed his hair using said ink. And finally, there's the fact that pinned to his cubicle is a mugshot of himself. And that's not the only great use of Creed's photo in the show, with a different moment revealing that he's banned from a Chinese restaurant for being a thief. Seriously, I think Creed might be my idol. Number 5. The aquarium screensavers after Michael falls in the pond, and the whiteboard messages. Koi Pond, the 6th episode of Season 8, is built around the fact that Michael falls into the pond itself outside of Dunder Mifflin, becoming the subject of a number of jokes afterwards. I mean, can you blame anyone? Look at this. While a lot of the gags are the point of the episode, the writers also ensure to sneak in a few that aren't so obvious on first watch, and the best of them is the screensavers. As seen when they're in the meeting room, a number of computers have changed their desktop screensavers to aquariums or general underwater settings to further mock their boss. In that same scene, Michael is making a list on the whiteboard of things people don't want to be mocked for, including the koi pond. Number 4. Stanley's resolution. In Season 7's The Ultimatum, Pam puts up a board for all of the staff to post their New Year's resolutions on, which, as you'd expect, is absolutely ripe for shenanigans. Some are genuine resolutions, such as Kevin vowing to eat more vegetables, Erin wanting to learn a new word every day, and Oscar aiming to finish the living room. Others go down a far more comedic route, as you'd expect, such as Angela's make time for romance with the senator, Creed's do a perfect cartwheel, and Dwight's meet a loose woman. The best of them, though, is the one that's the hardest to spot, since it's hidden away at the bottom right and partially masked by Pam herself. On pausing or rewatching, though, you can see that Stanley's resolution is, quite incredibly, be a better husband and boyfriend. Number 3. The chair model is Parks and Rec's Miss Pawnee. In Chair Model, the 14th episode of Season 4, Michael becomes obsessed with, well, you've guessed it, a chair model from a new office supplies catalogue that he has. The model's name is Deborah Shislewski, and she's played by April Eden. But Eden would then go on to play Trish Ionetta, aka Miss Pawnee, in Parks and Recreation. We don't get a long close-up at the model, and this was actually well before Parks and Rec aired, so it would have been impossible to spot when it first aired. Parks and Rec was initially conceived as a potential spin-off to The Office, and while they don't quite share the same universe, it might actually be plausible for Miss Pawnee to have been a chair model at one point under a pseudonym, of course. Either way, with the benefit of hindsight, it becomes a great, if unplanned, joke. Number 2. Jim Halpert, Assistant Regional Manager. The confusion over the difference between Assistant Regional Manager and Assistant to the Regional Manager provides mileage for a great number of gags over the course of the show's 9 seasons. And one of the best and sneakiest comes at the very start of Season 3. At this point, Jim has transferred from Scranton to Stamford and received a promotion in the process. We're not told exactly what this promotion is, but at the end of Diwali, all is revealed. Jim passes out at his desk, and the camera briefly pans down to show the nameplate, which reads, Jim Halpert, Assistant Regional Manager. When he eventually transfers back to Scranton, he keeps the position for a while as well, and the nameplate can still be seen on his desk. Number 1. Dwight's organisation chart. Similar to the resolutions board, but much weirder and much better in my opinion, is Dwight's organisational chart that he makes for the Scranton branch of Dunder Mifflin, with various nuggets of information that he's collected about all of the staff. There's a lot to unpack, and the thing as a whole warrants a closer look, but let's just run through a few of the highlights. The quote marks around Creed Bratton, the question of whether Toby is a Jew, the black power symbols next to the black staff members, the fact that he tracks the women's menstruation cycles and then crosses them out when they've hit the menopause, and the lines connecting them all, showing various different power relationships. The icing on the cake of all of this, though, is that at the bottom it reads, "Do not duplicate or transmit intellectual property of Dwight K. Schrute for 1,000 years. It's a work of art. So that's our list. I know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did you notice these details in your first time round, or did it take about 5 attempts like me to see any of them? Either way, while you're down there, can you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, you've been watching What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Bye.